Back and better than ever, Sleepless with Steve after a cluster cuss of a green room. We are back. We are back. You don't want to know what kind of fuss we just had. Moreover, Sleepless with Steve, back and better than ever. New time, who dis, 7 o'clock Central Time. That is our new start time. I, again, appreciate these gentlemen being accommodating to my new schedule, working mornings. Let me tell you guys, that 4:30 alarm, man, 4:30 in the morning comes faster than you think. You go to bed at 9 o'clock. I swear to God, it's like daylight savings time. You go to bed at 9, you go to 10, and then it jumps to 4:30 and the alarm goes off. I promise you. But we are live and in living color, last day of June 2021. Good to be with you, gentlemen, today. Loaded show today. F9 review. We had just had a little shindig. Joe just had a little shindig. I'll have him open the F9 review in a few short minutes. In a little bit, talking about the party we had on Sunday. That's exactly what it was. I tip my cap to Joe for, and I've told you this all in private. I'm just making it public. But great time. I'll have you talk more about that in a few. We're going to address the full-length trailer of Clifford the Big Red Dog because the Don't Breathe 2 trailer came out today. So why talk about that? We're going to talk about Clifford the Big Red Dog. Because I think this movie is more interesting.
When I sent you that trailer, I'm like, I really don't want to talk about Clifford. Can we talk about Don't Breathe 2? And you're like, that looks great. But Clifford it is.
Indeed. It's right in the nostalgia. I am excited for Don't Breathe 2, no lie. Because that's coming out in August along with Escape Room 2. I'm really surprised they made a sequel to Don't Breathe. I'll say that right off the bat. I'm really surprised.
I am too, and I like where it's actually going in terms of a sequel.
I do too. I can't wait to see Stephen Lang again. I'm going to rewatch it before Don't Breathe 2 comes out because there's like bits and pieces of that movie I remember, but I remember really liking that. We reviewed it, didn't we? No. We reviewed it on the radio show. Did we not?
I was really? Not. That came out in 2017. But it came out in the summer of 2017 before I attended North Central College. The first movie you and I reviewed that came out in 2017 was It, Chapter 1.
It. Yeah. It, I remember. That's right, because it did predate it by a couple months. Good film, though, Les. Dom, get you talking. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I was just thinking, did they name it Don't Breathe, TOO?
No, it's number 2.
No, it's just number 2. Oh, that's disappointing. Well, I'm not going to see that. Anyway, that's the only reason. Honestly, dude, I'm just still on a bit of a contact high, even though I arrived late, but it's still a bit of a COVID-free, no contact high from the theater experience. That was my second theater experience. First one being not Don't Breathe, the other one.
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place. Yeah, it's
the other horror film that plays with senses.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm, very much enjoying that. And honestly, I haven't been up to. We'll talk about it more in a little bit, but I haven't been up to Woodfield in such a long time. Anywhere really, but particularly Woodfield. That it's just nice to oh yeah, there's a Lego store here. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But it's just nice. So beyond that, just busy because. Aside from all the rain, and it has been raining, it's actually been decent weather, very muggy, but I'm just enjoying the outdoors and getting ready for that Delta variant to take it all away.
Who are you fooling? Decent weather. It's humid as hell. I need a shower after I walk to get my mail.
No, the walk is the shower.
God, it's disgusting outside. It's not 90, but it might as well be. But moreover, yeah, I will say our theater was not A Quiet Place Part 2 on Sunday, but no, we would have all been 8. But first things first, just before I talk about my website too, because I'm going to open just briefly, egotistically talking about my new website. It came in the mail today. I got a very pleasant surprise when I came home today. I cannot wait to crack this open. I'm going to start reading it maybe probably not tomorrow. I'm busy. Probably Friday. Cannot wait. Probably Friday after I get home from work. Going to sit on the deck, pour myself a cocktail when I get off work at noon, and dive into this bad boy right here. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Hey,
the novel.
I saw that.
Not screenplay. The novel.
No, this is an actual whole ass novel. Look at this. First off, it's a mass market paperback. It's one of those small compact paperback books. Mm-hmm. Look at how thick this is. Thick with 2 C's over here.
Yeah.
Because if if Quentin Tarantino's going to do something, he's going to overdo it.
Can you hold on? Can you open up to literally any random page and find an F-bomb?
Let's see. I'm on 142 right now. No, but the first quote I did see was, quote unquote, "I practically had to suck Randy's cock to get you that gig," Ricker, remember?
That's Tarantino writing.
Yeah, that's I don't even know. Obviously, that's Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Can we play that game like once a week? Just any random ass page.
Random page. I'll give one more. I'll give a BS bonus over here.
Also, in typical Tarantino fashion, I love that picture of Margot Robbie has on the front page. You know, just really selling it right there.
No joke, right? I'll flash it again.
Oh my god!
I scan this for any obscenities. Now this page actually seems rather clean. There's a lot of italics on page 208, however. A lot of italics in this book. I've just these 2 pages alone. Yeah, you can see Tarantino's got a little bit of a foot fetish right here. Look how filthy Margot Robbie's feet are. You know,
thank God we're not on Twitch anymore. Otherwise, we would have been banned for showing that.
Seriously, right now. But yeah, this is the mass market paperback, and of course, also in typical Tarantino fashion, I just flipped to the last page, and of course, they got the deluxe hardcore edition of this book coming out. Whenever the hell they got this thing coming out too. So this thing was cheap though. It was only $10. I pre-ordered it like back in March. It's $10 on Amazon. So I cannot wait to crack this open. This has been atop my summer reading list since it was announced.
Yeah, I'm almost done with reading Dune. Let me know how that is, like at least like the first few pages or chapters, whatever it may be, because I'm looking to pick up something else and read it at this point, and that's on my radar right now.
Yeah, I can't wait because I even just briefly glanced at like the Wikipedia page about it, and they were saying too that it does differ significantly from the book, from the movie in a lot of different aspects. Apparently, and I haven't read it, apparently it opens with the climax.
Oh, okay.
And it's set, and also I just read the first like 2-3 pages. It reads in the present tense, which is interesting. It reads in the present tense. So Tarantino's never written a book before. And then there's the audiobook version of this too, which I think Jennifer Jason Leigh narrates, which I wasn't really into. I wanted to just really just get the book. I'm gonna pour me up a 7 and 7 when I get off work at noon on Friday and read this thing, and then go see the Forever Purge later on. But anyway, though, this is also worth mentioning too. This is Joe's last show for 2 weeks. He's going on a 2-week vacation. Sick of us. I am too. He's going on a 2-week little break. So you're stuck with Dom and I next week for Summer of Soul, and then the following week for Black Widow. So get ready for that. Get ready for that business.
All my Marvel fans right now are just like, or friends are just like, what the hell, man? You're not going to review the Marvel movie that we've been waiting on for a whole year?
Sexist. Anyway, we'll move forward. I just want to briefly say this. I don't know, Joe can pull it up if he wants.
I got it
I'm
up,
not requesting it. Oh, I appreciate it. New site is live. I am super excited. Last Friday, I launched StevePulaski.com. Now, there would be no launch. There would be no site had it not been for a good friend / coworker of mine. His name is Andrew Bohal, does amazing work. He's become a loyal friend of mine over the last 3-4 months. We started mapping this out in early April, and he got this thing done and live on my deadline date of June 25th, my birthday last Friday. And he's done an amazing job. And like I said, this website exhausted me. And literally all I did was upload content on a website, draw out sketches on a piece of paper, and sit on my ass and drink and tell him what to do. He did the legwork on this thing, and he did a phenomenal job, to say the least. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. StevePulaski.com is live now. It is now the new home for everything I do. That's reviews. That's long-form think pieces. That's everything.
Is it hold on? Are you showing a picture or a live feed of the website?
Live
Joe?
feed of the website.
Scroll down to the first 4 tiles. It's literally all Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah. Furious 7, Fast Furious 6, Fast 5.
Let me explain myself here, okay? Remember this. I have a backlog of about 3,800 film reviews that are on my pro board, stevethemovieman.proboards.com, what I've used for the last decade. Now, not every single thing of not every review, not even close, is on stevepulaski.com yet. That backlog will be probably, I'll be working on that for a long, long time. I'm not in really any particular rush because I'm looking towards the future for this website as opposed to the past. However, when I was in the middle of writing the review of F9 on Monday, I was like, you know what? People are going to be coming to the site for my review anyway. I might as well upload the past Fast and the Furious movies. So I did. That's why the whole page is inundated with Fast and the Furious movies.
You broke my heart with Fast 5, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, I admittedly need a rewatch, but I was not a fan of that movie. I do remember. But yeah, so it's live, StevePulaski.com. Again, that is the new home for my reviews, my written essays. Sleepless with Steve content. There's a lot of us on that website as well. Every Friday I will post new clips from this week's Sleepless episode. So that will be on there as well, along with some radio work, some radio interviews I've done with different country artists, different, musicians in general. There's also the free Blockbuster project, which I've talked about ad nauseum on this show. And it's all conveniently accessible. Even music's on there too. You can listen to my mixtapes on there. So just a endless array of content that's really all me centric. And we're also working. A couple people have asked me this. This has been in the works for a little bit. This is a hell of a lot harder to code and really fine tune, according to my webmaster. But a comment section is coming. I cannot wait to get my ass chewed. But a comment section is coming. That will be in the
yourself, man.
For the next couple of weeks. The easy part, let me tell you, and I've learned this because I've actually learned a little bit of coding just watching my webmaster do this. But with the comment section, what's taken so long on that is they have to update WordPress has to update the codes for comments so often because of spam and captchas. So that's the challenge we're running into now, is just trying to get this thing secure and get this thing free of spam, which is a bigger undertaking than I think I or my webmaster anticipated. But comments are coming, hopefully within the next month. Get those live and get some responses on there. But StevePulaski.com, I'm really appreciative. I've been kind of tracking and obsessing over the analytics of it, for better or for worse. It's done very well in the first couple of days. Just want to thank everybody who's checked it out. It's in the link in the description of the Sleepless videos. Will be here on out. StevePulaski.com. Check it out. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, I'm super proud of this thing, and I could not have done it without my webmaster, who just got himself a very expensive bottle of whiskey today, courtesy of me. So, and I'm taking him and his wife out to dinner this weekend, so he's getting a lot of kickbacks from this old Pollock over here. But yeah, appreciate you showing it, Joe. We'll move forward though. Might as well dive into F9. That's what people are waiting for. And you know what? I'm going to throw it over to Joe because this is Joe's franchise, really. He likes it more than both Dom and I combined. And he also threw a very fun shindig on Sunday, didn't you, Joe?
Yes. So as Steve said, this has kind of been my franchise I've grown up with. Ever since the first one, I saw it in theaters with my uncles, and each one I've seen in theaters since then. It's something to me that I've watched grow and evolve into a whole different franchise at one point. From going from street racing to heisters to super spies to now superheroes in Fast and Furious 9. But before we get into that, I did have a special occasion to kind of just get people getting back into the theater and just getting into a theater again, because a few of my friends still haven't gone to see a movie, even with some of the movies that came out, like Cruella, A Quiet Place Part 2, Spiral, stuff like that. I decided to throw for free a screening of Fast and Furious 9 because I knew half these people would not pay a damn ticket to go see this movie. So I decided, you know what, it's not that much. I've been donating some blood to a clinic to help with plasma due to the shortage during the pandemic, and they paid us to do it. So I decided to take the money I got from that and use it towards this. And as you can see here by this group photo, I had about 17 people come. It was a great fun time. Everybody was just kind of relaxed, chilled about it, laughing at the movie, laughing with it or at it, for better or for worse. I even dressed up like Dominic Toretto, which you can see in this photo right here. That Steven.
Oh, that was you?
Oh yeah. No,
I thought Dom was there.
No, I'm sorry. He was not there. Unfortunately, he called me up. He told me I have to go film Fast and Furious 10 Part 1 and Part 2 back to back. So I'm really sorry. So I had to make up for it and kind of fool people into thinking that Dominic Toretto is there. But no, it was actually me, and you can see me here with my Corona in typical Dominic Toretto fashion. But yeah, no, it was a fun time. Everybody had a lot of fun. If it was on a Saturday or Friday, I would have like done something beforehand. Maybe like there's a Game Works next to the theater, would have done something there. But because it was Sunday, people had a lot going on, and people had to get to work the next day. So it was just come to the theater. We all have a fun time, take a photo after, head on home. But it was a fun time nonetheless.
Yeah, it was great. Shout out to the bartender at the theater because you poured your Corona Light into a glass, and you were gonna take a photo with the empty bottle. Dom, you missed this, but I was gonna take a photo of Joe with the empty bottle of Corona, and the guy goes, "You can't be Dominic Toretto with an empty bottle of beer," and he hands him a full one for the photo op. So shout out to that.
My God.
If only it was Corona Extra, but like we had to work with what we had there.
Either way, I told him, I said, "You the MVP of the screening today, man." Yeah, it was a great time, and what I loved too was that, I'll tell you, because Joe, I'll be honest, I didn't know the bulk of people there.
Yeah.
But it's a different friend group and stuff. But I mean, a couple people here and there, but didn't know the bulk of people. But great crowd. Like, I shouldn't have expected anything less. But like everybody was into it at a respectful degree, and that's what I loved about it, was that there was talking and stuff like that here and there. There was shouting or joke making and stuff, but it was all very respectful. Even the people, because I know not everybody liked it. Everybody was into it. Everybody was into the moment, and that's what I liked.
Yeah, my friend up here in the center with the red pants, immediately when the movie ended, went, "This is effing horrible."
Everyone gave it a fair shot. Everyone in the Joe Cinematic Universe gave F9 a very fair shot. Afterwards, they ripped it to shreds, but they gave it a fair shot.
Even if they didn't enjoy the movie, I think everybody enjoyed the experience, because I'd never experienced something like that. I never had a theater to myself and my friends before.
Yeah.
And that was the beautiful part about it.
It was really cool that like I had people from my North Central friend group basically, and then my home friend group, and then like even people that like I occasionally see at like parties and stuff. Like I'm not really like, I wouldn't consider like my hometown friends or whatever. They're just people I've met. It was really cool to see them all come together and just kind of actually vibe. Pretty cool to watch this movie about family coming together.
It's true. I know. I had a blast. Thanks for putting it on, man. And like I said, Dom and I both told you, I think afterwards, and have said it since, man, I know it probably is going to be tougher to swing because that's near Christmas. I know that. Mm-hmm. That's going to be tougher to swing. But I mean, even it doesn't have to be Spider-Man Far From Home. If you ever think about doing that again, I'll chip in.
Yeah.
I'll chip in for that.
It's I
hope you enjoyed the Sour Patch I bought. I know that was nowhere near the cost of a ticket, but I do hope you appreciate that.
We could make it an official Sleepless with Steve event and put it as a tax write-off. Maybe, I don't know how that works, but
no,
there you go.
The Spider-Man one, I just think would be easier because like I had to pull teeth to get some people to come because like I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie before. I'm like, it's not really hard to follow.
That's the point.
They literally remind you what happened in the last movie every movie.
I was gonna say this for the review, but I came in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes late to this movie. Of course, I walked in during like the family part. Well, okay,
a flashback.
The family part where it's just. I have to specify Dom, Letty, and the kid, and it's like dark. It's like that classic joke where it's like, of course you arrive at the movie late, and it's like a cave scene or like underwater. It's never like, can we be in like the tropics, which then we wound up being in. But anyway, I came in 15 minutes late, and I sat down. I'm like, okay, they're in South America, I think. Okay, cool. Here's the gang. Okay, that's the villain. Okay, yeah, I'm all caught up. And like, even as like they kept on like throwing in like the twists and like, oh, this person, oh, that person. I'm like, okay, are they with or against? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm all caught up. So it's fine.
It's not hemorrhoid surgery to understand this thing.
What?
It's not. That's what everybody says rocket science. I say hemorrhoid surgery. I don't know why. But anyway. It's not impossible to understand these things. Like the two people I went with, two mutual friends of ours, really, they never seen a Fast movie either. And they jumped in fine. Like my one friend on the drive home, he was like, I have no desire to watch the previous 8, but like I wasn't lost watching this thing. These movies aren't complicated. It's not like watching The Godfather Godfather Part 3.
It's not the people think like, because MCU and stuff, they think like a franchise is like that now. Like if you haven't caught up with the past 17 movies, you're not going to understand what's going on. It's like, no, not every franchise is like that, and Fast and Furious is a perfect example of that.
These movies are, and this is not, Roger Ebert at one point said something a variation of this, and I don't think this is offensive to say. These movies are kind of directed at like the lowest common denominator of moviegoers. I don't think it's offensive to say that, because these movies are maddeningly mainstream. They're very popular. They're expensive. They're blunt force. They're not impossible to understand. They're very surface level in that way. So like, whether you liked it or not is fine. All I'm saying is that the target audience for this is not the same target audience for like Wes Anderson or even Dune or something like that, But F9, where do we begin with this thing? I'm trying to figure out where I could start with this. Like I said, I'll say this. I probably would not have seen this had it not been for Joe's screening. I'll be
Same.
I'll be completely honest, man. Like, I've seen all of them. And Furious 7, I thought was a perfect finale. It wasn't going to be, because especially after Paul Walker's death, Furious 7 made untold billions. So there was going to be another one, which wound up being the Fate of the Furious. And I actually liked Fate of the Furious. I thought Fate of the Furious was good. I think Fate of the Furious, I think I've listened to half these movie soundtracks. I judge these movies on like two things: Tyrese Gibson and the soundtrack. That's what I judge these movies on. And Fate of the Furious, man, had bangers. Let me tell you, that is the best soundtrack of any of those movies. Between Kehlani and Candy Paint by Post Malone and 911 by Kevin Gates, that soundtrack was great.
Even the opening song by Jay Bavlin is actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's very true. Going into this one, I listened to the soundtrack on the way home, earlier in the day, and I'm like, this soundtrack was like 99% reggaeton and a good Pop Smoke and Juicy J song, and that was it. That was it. That Lane Switches song. That's the end credits of this movie.
Cardi B even shows up, but I won't say where.
Literally, you could tell somebody Cardi B shows up in this movie, they will never guess where.
They will never, ever guess where. I didn't even know going into it. But moral of the story, I probably would have opted to skip this movie had it not been for Joe's great screening. And I was honestly nervous that like this one-time sort of event of, a private screening was going to cloud my judgment, so to speak, just given the crowd and everybody. But make no mistake, I'll say this right now, I think even the loyalist fans of the series might not only find something off about this movie, but just would not rank it very high among the Fast canon. I would say that. And I'll go back to a quote I had that I wrote in my review of Fast 5, which I did not like, and Joe is devastated at me. But I wrote this, and I'll quote this, and this is how I'll start things. I said, Fast 5 is the point in the franchise where the series goes to space in order to try and desperately invoke some sort of life and new concepts into their tired formula. The cockamamie qualities of Fast 5 might as well have the entire cast beaming up to a different planet or a galaxy far, far away for how incredulous things become. Now, lo and behold, the ASA 9, ASA 10, ASA 11, F9 goes to fucking space.
Literally, Steve, you were about 10 years too early.
I was exactly 10 years too early. It's saying that, and they honestly go there. And oddly enough, it's one of the more entertaining sequences in this movie.
I was going to say...
They at least sent the two most charismatic characters to space.
Yes.
I'll give them that.
I was going to say, like, it has totally been out there at this point. They showed it in the trailer. It accidentally got leaked by Michelle Rodriguez when an interviewer was like, so tell me, when is Fast and Furious going to go into space? And she went, who told you? Did Tyrese say something? And it was just like, from there on out, it has been like known that it was going to go to space. It's just how they get to space, and actually seeing it is a whole nother like thing. Like, hearing it is one thing, but actually seeing it on the screen and seeing the characters who they send into space and what they have to do, it's just like, my God, they actually did it, and I applaud you for that.
I'm all over the place. Somebody take it. Somebody take it from here.
You're treating it as if like we actually made it to space, like the American space program.
This really is. This is like what they felt in the '60s. This is how I feel right now.
Oh my god.
We put a man on the moon. We put Tyrese
take.
and Ludacris into space.
Look, man. Okay, look. Let me start by saying I know exactly what this series is at least from Fast 5 onward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could make the argument that certainly the first 2, 3 Fast and Furious movies, 4, they were trying I won't be mean, but like they were actually going for like dramatic, realistic crime,
those first 3 movies
taking
were
it seriously.
we're actually trying to be a movie, having a plot, characters, all that stuff. Even the 4th one to an extent, but I hate the 4th one.
Sure.
Everybody does.
I think I've literally only seen one when I was a kid on like network TV.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo Drift, because my cousin, shout out to my cousin Jason, was an extra in that movie for like a millisecond. He was like in a dancing club part. I don't know. We like when it came out on DVD, we paused it, and we were like doing the frame by frame. It's like, oh, is that him? That looks like his leg. Anyway, and then after that, I think I fell off. I feel like I watched 6. I don't remember, but that's the thing. That's the point. Is that from 5 onward, when they introduced The Rock, safes going all over the place, and way more explosions than you care to count, all this crazy stuff, it becomes over the top. My interest waned, but at the same time, like I kind of like respect it for going full throttle in that sense. It's like, okay, you can't possibly go longer in the franchise than this while trying to keep that seriousness. At that point, you might as well just go direct to DVD or video direct or something. But no, I respect them for making the financial choice of like, hey, let's market this as an over-the-top summer movie with explosions. We got The Rock versus Vin Diesel. We got all these cars doing crazy shit that would never happen in real life, and it just becomes the penultimate, not the misuse, the ultimate summer action flick, and it has retained that title, rightfully so, even here in F9. But even then, even knowing full well what this what this franchise is nowadays, to me, it felt really overwrought, like 2/3 of the way in. I don't know what happened with the pacing. I don't know if like the other movies like of this post 5 era have similar pacing issues, but there's like a family moment when I came into the theater. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. In the beginning, exposition, blah, 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 set the stakes. I get it. That's fine. That's your moment. And at the end too, where it's all family coming together. But something happened, I don't know, where it's like the build up to going to space didn't feel as epic as it might have been. The introduction of like all the characters from like 3 and I think Fast and Furious, I'm looking it up, and something about it felt really jumbled, where I was hoping for, okay, my favorite trick out of all this was the car in South America doing like a bungee jump, like with the one wheel, as if that wheel would stay on the car, but it's like doing like a Spider-Man-esque, swing, yeah, and then landing on the other side of the ravine. I was like, okay, that's actually kind of awesome for how ridiculous it is. And then I feel like we never really reached that point again. The space thing felt almost kind of forced. The magnet thing felt like a video game trick that you show off in video game trailers, and then when you get to it, it's like, okay, I wasn't really as excited for this as I thought I was.
Magnets in movies are what we want them to be.
And
that's the moral.
Yeah, so something got overwrought here. So we'll give it to Joe, and he'll put on a sterling defense here.
Okay, I will say this. I'm gonna talk from. I already said what I said about those first 3 movies. They actually are movies trying to have characters and everything. Are they good? That's up to you. I legit think that first one is a great film. The second one, it's good. Tokyo Drift, it's iffy. 4 is bad. Now, here's the thing. For those 4 movies, they've been trying to do the street race thing and trying to up the ante each one. And with 5, they decided to go balls to the wall and just go, screw it, now they're a heist crew. And from there on out, I would say 5, 6, and 7, as crazy as they are, as over the top as they are, they actually are good movies still. Like they actually are just a fun action films. The Rock came in and he brought this sort of like charisma that I felt the franchise kind of needed. Like just another character to bring in this and everything. And from there on out, they're just fun action movies. To me, they are action movies that will, as stupid as they're getting, they are at least getting creative with their stupidity. The action sequences they come up with are honestly really cool. Like Fate of the Furious is one I'm not too crazy about, but the zombie car scene, that action sequence is cool as hell. Anytime I see that, I'm like, whoever like drew that up, like honestly was thinking like some really cool ideas here. And with even the other movie series, like the jumping the towers between the Dubai towers, that's an awesome scene. The runway scene in 6, as ridiculous as it is, and the fact that plane never got to the end of the runway for how long it ever was, it's still a really cool scene. To me, I always looked at these movies, and it's just like, unlike like the Transformer films, which are just like long movies that are insulting you with its humor, not being creative, and literally repeating the same thing over and over again. Fast and Furious, while it does have some similar things, like there's the families involved, they are always going to have a barbecue at the end, the bad guy that is a popular actor is going to become good by the end of the movie. While they do those same things over and over again, at least the action sequences, the set pieces, and for the most part, most of the time, the comedy is funny, good, and a lot of fun. And that's how I always saw this franchise from there on out. Now, here's the thing with Fast 9, though. I have talked to people who have loved this movie and say it's their favorite one. I have talked to people who have said this is the worst one. For me, as somebody who's actually just enjoyed where the series has gone and has appreciated the creative control that each director has had and how crazy they can get with any ideas they want to, I will say that this one is a bit lacking. And I want to attribute to this, but Chris Morgan did not write this film. And Chris Morgan has been writing every Fast and Furious up until this point. And what Dom was saying about how the pacing kind of just felt off and everything, and it was just like, it didn't feel right. I totally see that, and I think it's just because he's not there. There is something about this guy that when he wrote 5, 6, 7, 8, when it came to just the craziness of this, and even Hobbs and Shaw, he wrote that one as well. When it came to the craziness of it and everything, he just knew how to get it down to a T. Like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is how crazy it's going to get. And with this one, it just feels like, okay, this feels like a boardroom of people thinking they know what the Fast and Furious fans want to see. And it's just like, oh, we want to get ridiculous, we want to get crazy, so we're going to do magnets, we're going to go to space. And here's the thing, I thought the magnet thing was cool. It is ridiculous, but I thought it was cool. And I enjoyed the space sequence. But I do agree, like, when we got to that point, I'm like, I feel like this should be bigger. Like, I'm having fun with it, but like, this should really be a big occasion. A series that started off about people stealing VHS tapes from pickup trucks and semi-trucks has now gone to space. Like, it's just like, the domino effect here, I should feel it. I really should. And it's just not shown here. Justin Lin did return to direct, and like his style is seen throughout the film as it is with the films he has directed with Tokyo Drift 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, something just felt off here. And the writing in here too. I guess Chris Morgan just knew how to write these characters, at least to be not engaging, but just fun to hang out with and be funny. And knew like, hey, let's not linger on the villains for too long, because Jesus Christ, I hate to say it, and then like it's horrible to say this, but this is the worst fucking script I've ever heard in any Fast and Furious movie. There is
saying something.
It's down there.
There's an analogy here that involves Star Wars that goes on way too long. Yeah. And even the entire audience they were with, my entire friend group, the minute that ended, you just heard people say, Jesus Christ, can you just wrap this up? We had to get to this point, this whole analogy, jumping from like 6 different Star Wars characters that someone's claiming to be. It's just like, oh my God.
I swear the god-awful Sing 2 trailer was shorter than that analogy. I mean, my God, that analogy was longer than marriage.
Oh my God. I know I've been going on long-winded here. I'll wrap up with this, and if we want to take our break, or if someone wants to take it over, then please do. I really hate to say it, because it's not like these movies are known for their dialogue, but like, at least the jokes from like the time where the Rock has joined in, like Tyrese and Ludacris had like really good chemistry, and they still have it here, but just the material they have to work with is just not as strong. And I'm really attributing it to Chris Morgan, because I'm just like, damn, it's like you took him out of the piece, and now you have a lesser Fast and Furious movie. For me right now, though, in terms of positives, is that I still found it to be a little, like, I still had fun, and there was some little here bits of fan service that I really appreciated with the flashbacks, involving Dominic Toretto's dad and Jacob, the new character played by John Cena, that I was just like, man, like, you know, connecting back to the first film, say what you want, maybe this is the fanboy in me, but it's like, I am enjoying these parts in some sort of way. There's too many flashbacks, but I did enjoy them nonetheless.
Before we take the break, I'll just say this. Justin Lin helmed the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th installment, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So he's helmed the most out of anybody with this series, because it was Rob Cohen, John Singleton with the sequel, and then Lin took it over for the bulk of it. Now, the thing is, though, I think Lin, if he was given truth serum, would admit the well is running dry on these movies. And it's running dry to the point now. And I think it took me a little bit through this movie, about halfway through, when I realized I'm like really in my head watching this thing. Like, why is this not as fun as Fate? Why is this not as impacting as 7? And why is this not even as narratively compelling as 6? And I finally think I landed on it, is that the well is running dry, that the only point this series can go, and it goes here to a fault, is that the series has become a parody of itself. It has embraced the meta qualities and sort of what the public has said about this thing, in terms of it all being about family, in terms of the characters essentially evolving into Marvel superheroes and being immortal, and in terms of just the utter lunacy of the script. It's embraced that to the point where it's become self-aware, and it doesn't handle that self-aware angle, which is a shame, because that's where the bulk of the humor comes from, outside of when Roman and Tyrese and Ludacris are riffing off each other, because they are still fundamentally the most charismatic characters in this entire series.
Honestly, like the fact that exchange in the movie where they're getting really meta with it, or it's like, yeah, I think we're just invincible. Like when you're getting on that level, it's the well is running dry. Yeah. So I think that even more than the really bad Star Wars metaphor, like that exchange, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It wasn't even that poorly written, but it's like just the fact that they're having this conversation at all, and they're like wasting time in the movie having it. For me, I'm like, I mean, apparently Vin Diesel rides like a nuclear warhead in the other one. I don't know.
No.
But
they push a nuclear warhead in the other one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And then he survives a nuclear blast because his friends cover him and surround him in cars.
That already is self-aware. Like that level is like, if you film that is self-aware in and of itself. You know, it's just, there's such a level. And
I'm sorry, we don't need the whole explanation scene and everything, the whole joke of it. We don't need that when literally the movie itself is going to go into space. Like, we don't need that.
Yeah, going into space is the self-referential, we've dialed it up to 11 aspect of the movie. We don't need the characters riffing about their immortality.
And hey, seeing that shitty car like just slowly crest over the horizon, that was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That was actually
it was a good.
I love that whole sequence. That sequence is great.
The most amazing thing about this movie is there's the old unwritten saying of movies is that when they go to space, they've officially run out of ideas. And with this movie, though, it's not as bad as cockamamie as it is. It's not as bad as like Jason X or Leprechaun 4 in space. It really isn't. It's actually a very well done scene. When they go to it, it maybe lacks the gravity you think it would. I thought it did. No pun intended. Okay, I walked into that one like a jag-off. It lacks maybe the impacting nature you would think because it's been rumored for so long, but it is a admittedly well-done scene. We got to take our Zoom-sponsored break here. We'll be back in a few short minutes, kind of wrap things up with F9 and then dive into the Clifford the Big Red Dog trailer, which I know Joe is itching to talk about. He come with opinions like Dom comes with opinions on whatchamacallit. I totally lost my train of thought there. Dom comes with opinions all the time, though, especially politics related. We'll be back in a few short seconds. Sleepless with Steve. back and better than ever, Sleepless with Steve, after our Zoom-sponsored intermission, talking about F9. But that was the thing that I think drove me nuts about this movie, was the constant need to reference how crazy this series has really become. And it really, for lack of a better term, because I just did this stupid unintentional gravity pun during the space dialogue or the space scene, I will say I think this movie does get high off its own gas fumes when it embraces that real soap opera nature of it here in ways that I don't think it came off that way. It was always a little corny, but it really dials that up here. And the combination of that and the self-referential nature of it, and just overall the different feel of it from the other ones. And Joe, I didn't even notice that because I know Chris Morgan, or I know of him, and I know of his impact on this series. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that was a missing ingredient here. And it's kind of like the unsung thing where you feel like something's missing. And I think Morgan's absence in the screenwriting department is the ingredient that is missing.
Because like I feel like even when Hobbs and Shaw, like he didn't let, like, you know, how crazy that guy, they didn't make self like, man, we're practically superheroes and everything. It's just like, now it just felt like they tossed it to a writer that's just like, I never written one of these movies before, and he watched them all and he's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I brought this into it because I was making this joke while watching the movies. I'm not saying like, hey man, like, you were tasked with the easiest job ever. You had to write Fast and Furious 9. What the hell can you do that hasn't been done already?
The only harder job's writing Fast 10
and 11.
You know, that's the only harder thing now, because it's like, well, they went to space. Where the hell else are they gonna go?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think we could almost wrap up here. Any final thoughts from you, Dom?
No, I'll give my rating. Because I'll give my rating on Fast 6, which I do remember now. I looked it up. That is the one that I saw. Honestly, I would give that at worst a 2.5, if not 3, just because, like, yeah, it had The Rock, it had Gina Carano when she was like not insane, and like it was a fun time. So then watching this now, where it's like, yeah, this is really melodramatic in not a fun way anymore, I'm gonna give it 1.5, just because it's like it's like you wasted my time. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that it was in a room full of you guys, not doing full-on riff tracks, but I was kind of doing it with Steve. Every time they said family, I whispered over to Steve, family. I just said it quietly. You couldn't hear me down there, Joe. But...
Man, can I just say too, I think this is the most they've said family in any of these movies combined.
I believe
it's gotta be. It's gotta be. And that didn't help either. They really dial that crap up in this one. It was always present, especially from 5 on. But man, oh man, do they dial it up to comical levels in this thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll come out and say too that I give it a 2 out of 4 stars. I really do. Creatively speaking, again, Furious 7 should have ended it all, but there was still more money to be made. But this really reminds me of like Marvel. This series has come to remind me of Marvel movies without the imagination. This one specifically, without a great deal of how to at least incorporate the imagination within the realms of the series without constantly referencing the craziness of it. And you got hints of that in Fate, and you get it dialed up ridiculously in F9. And the other running joke too that me, Dom, and our mutual friend Peter were making, because we kind of sat in a cluster, was the fact that, my God, Haynes needs to sponsor this movie. Did we see how crisp Dominic Toretto's white tank is throughout this entire thing? Like, it was so great. About 20 minutes into it, like after the first big chase, Peter leans over and he goes, look at that, not a stain on that thing. He looks like Mr. Clean. He looks like Mr. Clean over here, not a stain on that damn thing.
Can I just say,
you have to respect the white tee budget.
He gets into a whole fight scene, rolls around in dirt, and I believe the shirt came out cleaner than when he initially got into that action scene.
It's literally like a covert CIA operation in South America, and here in the dense jungle where the opposing force is like full camo with baklavas and stuff. Here's Vin Diesel jumping around with a crisp white shirt. Oh my God, that was so good.
It's a 2 out of 4 star for me. Send us home on this one, Joe.
Oh my God, man, this is hard for me. I'm gonna give you 2 ratings. I hate to do this on a review, but I'm gonna give you a rating as a Fast and Furious fan, and then a rating as like genuinely actually like criticizing this movie. As a Fast and Furious fan, there was so much I really did enjoy about this movie. I'm glad Han is back. Granted, the explanation is stupid. It doesn't make any sense, but what would I expect from this franchise? And it also had the biggest uphill battle of explaining how the hell did he come back. It's just like the fact that they brought him back, though, because Justin Lin and him have such a good relationship, and fans wanted him back because, to be honest, I even was one of the people that's like, yo, why the hell are you guys making Jason Statham a good guy? He literally killed, like, a fan favorite character. Like, screw that guy. And the fact they brought him back and everything, and I was just very happy about that. I actually really liked John Cena in this movie. I'll give him that. I actually thought John Cena was actually pretty good.
He acts his ass off here. Not to interrupt you. That was one thing I didn't miss talking about this thing. He acts his ass off here. I'm not going to go as far as to say he's great, but he's clearly trying to be against type here, and I noticed that.
Out of all the action movies I've seen him in, like Bumblebee, this, and whatever else, and maybe Suicide Squad will definitely win it over
The
for me.
Marine.
The Marine, there we go. This, by far, was my favorite action like performance he's given. I thought he was a lot of fun here. But yeah, the action sequences are great. I like it was great to see Lynn's direction come back. But as a Fast and Furious fan, I can't help but feel that yes, something was missing. I do attribute it to the writing of Chris Morgan. And that like this franchise is starting to now not touch itself, but be a little bit on the nose now, and like, you know, a little bit, haha, don't you see what we're doing here? And it's like that's not what Fast and Furious was ever doing. I do agree with Steve that even as a fan of these movies, I think 7 was the place to call it. But I mean, the money never stops, so why? So as a Fast and Furious fan, this movie is about middle of the road for me. If I had to rank them amongst them, it's 2.5 out of 4 stars for me. As a Fast and Furious fan, as a critic though, it is 2 stars. There are points it almost actually got to Dom's rating for me too, 1.5. But it started to win me over. Like I know you guys said the halfway point is where you guys started to teeter out. For some reason, for me, the halfway point is where I was like, okay, no, it's getting better now. Like stuff is actually happening. We're moving along here. But yeah, it was a bit of a disappointment. I had fun regardless though, for the event and the movie.
I can't get over how much the soundtrack sucks. Like even after watching the movie, I was like, these songs just suck, man.
The soundtrack is,
you know, Fate of the Furious did really up my expectations. I highly recommend, man, if you guys like, I know I'm the biggest hip hop fan here probably, but like, you know, as far as like pop rap and a mix of that goes, the Fate of the Furious soundtrack is probably my favorite. It's probably my favorite of them all. There's a lot of great songs on that I still go back to that have good replay value. There's even a Migos song on there called Seize the Block. Yeah, that's really good.
6 is my favorite soundtrack.
Nothing will ever beat Teriyaki Boys.
Yeah!
Tokyo Drift. Tokyo! And it's every time I make that joke, I don't even like Tokyo Drift that much. I just like that song, ironically. Almost unironically now, but every time I mention it, people are like, wow, that's really racist. No. That's literally how they sing it. It's literally like someone going, Tokyo. It's like the whole freaking song, dude.
Yeah, that I do remember that one. There's not much to remember of Tokyo Drift, but that one, absolutely, that song. We'll close out with Joe's favorite topic right here. I didn't know if you were so passionate about Don't Breathe Too. You should have spoke your piece in the group chat. But moreover, no, I want to touch on this just because of the fact that I don't want to say I'm excited for this movie, but I'm intrigued because this thing has been said to come out now for the last like 6 years. This Clifford the Big Red Dog movie. We talked about the teaser trailer when it dropped back in January, and now the full-length trailer has been released for this thing. And this is faint praise if there ever was one. Can we at least agree this looks more bearable than Tom and Jerry? Can we at least agree on that?
Yes, it does. I will give you that.
Because you know what I liked about this trailer, and I found it noteworthy from the jump, and then I'll throw it over to you, Dom, is that at least from the trailer, it looks like they keep Clifford's and Emily's bond intact. I think there's a little bit too much craziness at times, and this is all judging the 2-minute trailer, but if you remember, I grew up more with the show than I did the books of Clifford. And the very theme song says, her love made Clifford grow so big. And that is kept intact. And it looks like that is the basis or the foundation on which the movie is built. and I appreciate that. How it's going to translate to a 90 to 100-minute feature, I can't say, but it looks pretty good, even though Clifford looks like he's in dried ketchup. It looks good. It looks pretty good on that, and I think the heart of the story is in place. What say you, D?
I'm sorry, you didn't feel the heart from Chloe Grace Moretz trying to employ a mouse and a cat to like prevent an Indian wedding from falling apart. What even happened to them? I don't remember much. But anyway,
that is the plot.
Yeah,
you are right. Holy crap!
That trailer, that trailer, Clifford the Big Red Dog trailer has like every modern kids movie cliche, and it starts off very whimsical, trying to be Disney, and then it cuts to like a jumpy guitar, and then like some modern song, and then it's like something about love. Like she literally like the literal tear makes the dog big. And I don't think I read the book. I was more of a TV guy, PBS guy myself. Not too much of it, but I do remember it. And yes, even though it has every cliche, it doesn't feature rapping animals. It knows it knows its place. It knows its place, dude. It's not trying to be hip. Hey, yo, if they went iCarly and it's like, hey, like the kid's grown up and it's like, yo, Clifford, this guy's cutting me off, cut that bitch, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe, or if they went dark with it, where it's like the 2008 stock market collapse really hit us hard. Now Clifford has to find a job as a DEA drug dog sniffing unit. Or, I don't know, but like it would. Or like TSA. It's like a Colombian.
I'm sharing a photo right now on the stream, and like this is the movie Dom wants. Once you guys come back and see it yourself, like you'll see.
Oh boy!
Look. It's all right, man. I watched it in front of Chelsea, and Chelsea was like, "Not gonna lie, I probably sit down watching that while I was high." I was like, "Awesome, yeah, dude. This is that movie, and I'm cool with it. It's all right."
Joe, your thoughts on Clifford?
Look, man, I mean, you kind of hit it on the head when you said at least this looks more bearable than Tom and Jerry and everything. Because, yeah, it does, man. Like, because that's what had me worried when we saw that teaser trailer from the get-go. I'm like, man, I can't believe they're actually doing this. I was worried that we were going to get something like Tom and Jerry, where it's like Clifford's a secondary character and the human characters are in front. They're taking over. It's their movie. And then every once in a while you have Clifford show up. No, this actually looks like the show. To give credit to what I saw in those 2 minutes, it doesn't look like the show, but it has the essence of it, is what I meant to say. It at least is like, okay, Emily's there and Clifford's there, and they're bonding together. This is their origin story of how they met and why he got big and everything. Okay, hell yeah, fine. Like that to me is a good idea for a starting point if you actually want to do this into a movie. And here's the thing too, man. Like I watched this trailer and I'm like, you know, I gotta wait until this movie comes out, because this trailer reminded me, because at least it wasn't having like, you know, rapping pigeons and like Clifford doing like, you know, Fortnite
the standard
dances.
by which all live action adaptations of classic kids cartoons will be held.
Like just rapping animals. Like the minute you hit that in your trailer, like I'll tell you what, I know I'm coming back for Space Jam, but when I see that granny drinking that martini and being like, it's for show, LeBron, and I'm just like, oh man, this might not be a tough one.
No, she says haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. That
was rough. That was rough.
I was
go
like,
on, Joe.
Oh boy, man, this is gonna be a tough one to sit through too, isn't it? What the hell, Warner Brothers? At least it's at least treating some respect to the source material from what I see, and I'm hoping it stays like that, because at the very end of the day, man, I'm gonna go back to a movie we reviewed on Sleepless with Steve back in 2018, Paddington 2. I went into this movie not knowing a damn thing about it, just knowing, it's some stupid kids movie where a bear can talk. And I ended up loving this movie. It's like one of my favorite kids films out there. One of my favorite family films. Like, it's amazing. And I'm just like, you know what? Will Clifford be that good? I don't know. Can it be? Maybe. Who knows? Like, it just may have a bad trailer, and that's all it could really just have going against it. And then I go see the movie, it's like, damn, I really did believe in Emily and Clifford's love and the bond they had. Sure, Clifford doesn't look the best. Maybe it can get touched up before the movie comes out. That's, well, time will tell.
Yeah, Clifford doesn't look great. I'll say that.
Yeah. Did the Paddington both 1 and 2? Did the trailers for that have like a pop song, like with that guitar? You know what I'm talking about? Did it have a pop song in this trailer? In the first one,
yeah.
Okay.
At least the American trailer.
Yeah.
Because it's a British movie. Like the American trailer had to call up T-Pain or somebody. but no, I'm excited for this one too. And I think the other part of me too is that we never really did get a good Clifford movie. We got Clifford's really big movie, which bombed. Nobody saw the damn thing. It was on a shoestring budget, came out really low key in 2003. And it was always a good, pleasant show. So I'm kind of hoping that this one at least has a little bit of the spirit of the show. But let me tell you, I'm going to change my tune if we get a live action Berenstain Bears remake. I'm going to change my damn tune because that thing is going to give me PTSD from the Country Bears. And I don't want to talk about that crap. But that's going to do it for Sleepless with Steve tonight.
No, stop, Steve. You cannot just name drop the Country Bears and end the show like that. God damn it. Well, okay, I guess we'll have to.
Watch me. That's Sleepless with Steve. We come to you live and in living color every Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock Central Time, brand new time that we start now. Again, thanks to these boys for being accommodating. Joe's off now the next 2 weeks, taking a 2-week vacation from the squad, but Dom and I will still be here. Dom will be running the show very valiantly. I know he looks forward to these next 2 Wednesdays.
I'm sorry.
Hey, at least no Zoom intermission these next 2 Wednesdays, so that's less
true.
annoying
That is
thing.
true. One of a faint positive, but a positive we'll take. Summer of Soul next week, which is coming out on Hulu, and I believe is getting something of a theatrical release because when we did go to the theater this weekend to see F9, there was a poster for Summer of Soul in the hallway. And I thought this thing was just coming to Hulu because it was teased during the Oscars since Questlove was DJing and he's directing this. But it is coming to Hulu, I believe on the 3rd, I believe on Friday.
It's coming.
Or on the 2nd, it's coming to Hulu.
One of my friends, they went to go see the Sparks Brother documentary, like after we saw Fast and Furious 9, like they literally had tickets for it that night.
Oh, wow.
And they told me, it is coming out on Hulu and in select theaters.
That's cool. I mean, it's a documentary, so it's probably not going to get a big release, but no less.
Yeah.
We're going to review Summer of Soul, Dom, and I can't wait to talk about that with you, D.
Hell yeah.
I'm really stoked for that one. I think it's hard to say it right off the bat, but I think that's got top 10 movie of the year potential. I really do. Just from the trailers, I think it looks great. And then the following week, we're talking about Black Widow, which is coming on Disney Plus and also coming to theaters. And, we'll have some other stuff, like I said, down the road. Obviously, we're still looking at things. I might as well throw this out there just to tease it very briefly. But we're also going to review Marvel's Forgotten Horror Film in August. I sent this to the guys because I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it until Bloody Disgusting published a piece on a movie called Man-Thing. It was a Marvel movie that was so bad it didn't get released to theaters. And that's not hyperbolic either. It was so bad it ditched theaters and was straight to sci-fi, back when sci-fi was spelled like the genre, not S-Y-F-Y. So we're going to dive into that. I think the first week of August I have Man-Thing scheduled. So we're going to dive into that and brace ourselves for impact. But that's some stuff to look forward to in the coming weeks of Sleepless with Steve. Highlights posted on the YouTube channel on which you are watching this episode right now. Thanks so much for joining us. For Joe Viso, Dominic Guanzon, and yours truly, this has been Sleepless with Steve.